Welcome back to Omoshiroi Recap. Today, I will recap the rising of the shield hero. The story begins with a man named Naofumi, a student and an otaku. While in the library, Naofumi reads a book about 4 heroes. Then the book he was holding glowed, and he was summoned to another world. Naofumi and 3 other people are called to save the world from a disaster called the Waves. This wave can summon monsters and attack humans, so the 4 of them are called holy heroes, and each gets a legendary weapon. Among them is Amaki Ren as the sword hero and Kawasumi Itsuki as the bow hero, Kitamura Motoyasu as the spear hero, and Iwatani Naofumi as the shield hero. Then when they wanted to make a group, no one wanted to be Naofumi's partner because the shield hero was so underrated there. However, a woman wants to be his partner, namely Melty Melremark, a child of the king there. Afterward, they headed to the weapon shop to buy equipment before going on an adventure. The owner of the shop was named Elhart. Since Naofumi is a shield hero, his attacks are weak and he needs help defeating monsters. But he can steal monsters' abilities by devouring monster body parts into the shield. The next day suddenly, the soldiers catch Naofumi and take him to the king's place. It turns out that Naofumi was falsely accused of raping Melty, when Naofumi didn't touch her at all. Naofumi tries to explain the truth, but they all don't believe him. Naofumi realized that Melty had tricked him after seeing Melty's face. Naofumi wants to be executed. Because of his status as a holy hero, finally, he was kicked out of the kingdom, and Naofumi had to join the war against monster waves. After that, he met Elhart, who wanted to beat up Naofumi, but after seeing Naofumi's gaze, Elhart doesn't hit him and believes he is innocent. Elhart also gave him a cloak to protect him. Naofumi fights all night against monsters and finally reaches level 2. Then Naofumi sells the monster parts to the merchant, but he gives Naofumi a low price. So Naofumi shows him the monster inside his cloak so he can give it a fair selling price. Naofumi looks for medicinal plants with the leaf shield ability in the forest, and he can improve the quality of plants, so he gets a lot of money when selling these plants. Then Naofumi fights with someone who wants to take his money. Even though Naofumi can win, he feels he needs someone to fight monsters and level up. After that, Naofumi met a slave trader because he felt that Naofumi needed someone to become a weapon. He takes Naofumi to his place and shows him all the enslaved people he has. So Naofumi bought a half-beast human named Raphtalia. Then Naofumi bought her a weapon so she could fight. Not only that, but he also gave Raphtalia delicious food. Even though Raphtalia has an illness and trauma from her past, Naofumi continues to care for her and trains her until Raphtalia can defeat the monsters. Because if Raphtalia gets stronger, Naofumi can survive when the waves come. After that, they explored a mine together, but instead, they met monsters there. It turned out that the dog monster had killed Raphtalia's parents and made her frightened. However, Naofumi forces Raphtalia to face her trauma by defeating the monster. Naofumi restrains the monster so Raphtalia can attack him. In the end, they managed to beat monster together. After 1 week, Raphtalia was level 18, and her body had matured even though she was still a child. Then they bought new equipment to strengthen them in battle. Elhart also made special armor for Naofumi. Afterward, they headed to the church to see the dragon's hourglass, which is a marker of when waves occur. The next day a wave occurs, and the heroes are transported to where the wave occurred. They fought monsters while protecting the villagers. Naofumi tries to distract the monsters, so Raphtalia takes the villagers to safety. After finishing, Raphtalia immediately helped Naofumi defeat the monsters in the village. Even though the royal knights had come, they did not help Naofumi defeat the monsters. After seeing Naofumi go to great lengths to protect the village, some good knights decide to help him. On the other hand, the other three heroes immediately targeted the boss monster without caring about the safety of the people around them. The wave ends after the boss monster is defeated. Because Naofumi has managed to protect the village, he gets a good impression from the villagers, and they are very grateful to Naofumi. After that, a party was held in the kingdom, and Naofumi participated. When he saw that Naofumi was close to Raphtalia, the clown hero Motoyasu was jealous and immediately challenged Naofumi to a duel with him. Even Motoyasu also wants to free Raphtalia from the slave seal. Because the king of bastards took Raphtalia hostage, Naofumi is forced to accept a duel challenge to save Raphtalia. When the fight starts, Motoyasu manages to corner Naofumi. Because their level difference is enormous, Motoyasu was level 43, while Naofumi was level 21. However, Naofumi uses all of his abilities and manages to attack Motoyasu. He even locked him in the shield with the balloon monsters. When Naofumi wanted to beat Motoyasu's face, Melty suddenly attacked him using wind magic. As a result, Naofumi is caught off guard and hit by a lightning spear from Motoyasu. In the end, Motoyasu won by using underhanded means. Meanwhile, Naofumi tries to explain that Melty has attacked him, but they don't believe Naofumi, so Naofumi fell into despair. Without realizing it opened a unique ability, namely the Curse series. Meanwhile, Raphtalia was freed from her slave seal, but she slapped Motoyasu. Not only that, the other two heroes explained that Melty had violated the duel rules, and they asked Motoyasu not to disturb Raphtalia, who wanted to meet Naofumi. When Naofumi almost became a villain character who would destroy the kingdom, Raphtalia immediately saves Naofumi from hatred, and she believes that Naofumi is a good person.
ナオフミ様が誰も信じられなくなっても、私は信じてます。盾の勇者様を。
So the next day, Naofumi was excited again and started a new day with Raphtalia. Then the heroes get a reward from the king for participating in overcoming the waves. However, Naofumi gets a small reward. Even so, they still accept it and leave the place immediately. Then Naofumi returns to the slave trader's place because Raphtalia wants to put her slave seal again.
処女でも金貨20枚は硬いです。
私は処女です。
ならば35枚。
After that, Naofumi buys a monster Filolial egg. Not only that, but Naofumi also received gifts from the villagers he had saved during the previous wave. They got the medicinal recipe book and the magic book for Raphtalia because her specialty is light and dark magic. The next day the egg hatched a Filolial type animal and grew so fast in 2 days that Naofumi gave it the name Filo. Then suddenly, two clowns, Motoyasu and Melty, are making trouble in the village, but black-robed troops appear and stop Melty. These troops were given orders directly from the queen or Melty's mother. Melty was annoyed that the troops thwarted her plan. Then she asks Motoyasu and Naofumi to compete in a race to fight over the village's property. Motoyasu belittled Naofumi using birds and racing, so Filo immediately kicked him, and 2 of his eggs broke. After that, the race starts, although the knights help Motoyasu by using magic. However, Naofumi and Filo manage to win the race. Because Naofumi won, the villagers gifted a carriage to Filo, so they can travel using the train. The next day suddenly, there was a girl around them. She was Filo in her human form. The slave trader explained that Filo was a queen of the Filolial race, which is why Filo was able to transform into a human. Then Naofumi stops by the tailor's shop so he can make a magic suit for Filo, but it requires magic thread. After that, Naofumi intends to become a merchant and treat people who are sick. Because Naofumi has the skill to improve the quality of medicinal ingredients, he can quickly heal someone sick. Then they escorted a merchant to take him somewhere. Suddenly they were intercepted by bandits who wanted to attack the merchant, but Raphtalia and Filo were able to beat them easily. After that, Naofumi threatens them to give up the things they stole. Otherwise, Filo will eat them.
お腹空いてるか？空いてる。ご飯。
In the end, Naofumi got a lot of goods from the bandits. Not only that, the previous merchant gave knowledge and connections between merchants, so Naofumi can make accessories and get information about other heroes. Ren has managed to defeat the dragon monster alone. Motoyasu saves the starving village with the help of a legendary plant. Meanwhile, Itsuki helps revolutionaries in other kingdoms. Not only that, but Naofumi also got the information to make magic threads, so they headed to a mine and they met a strong monster. But Naofumi manages to crack the monster's ear while the others launch an attack in unison. Ultimately, they defeated the monster and got the magic thread gems. A few days later, Filo got her magic suit, which made her very happy. Then Naofumi is asked by a merchant to head to a village covered in plants. It turns out it all started with the spear hero, who gave the village a plant seed that mutated into a monster. Then the villagers asked Naofumi to save their village and would reward them with money if they managed to defeat the monster. So Naofumi and the others immediately headed there. Even though they managed to launch an attack, the monster could regenerate quickly. Naofumi uses a potion enhancing skill to increase herbicide and exterminate the plant monsters. After that, Naofumi analyzes the plant seed with the power of the shield and gets a new skill. When Naofumi uses that skill, he creates a safe new plant seed, so he doesn't become a monster but produces lots of fruit. After that, Naofumi returned to the previous merchant's place and sold all the plant seeds. Then they stopped by a hot spring. Raphtalia felt jealous because Filo was always with Naofumi. Because of that, Raphtalia wanted to gift Naofumi the jewels, but Filo also wanted to look for Gagako bird eggs, so they worked together to get gems and eggs. But when they got there, they were attacked by the silver wild boar, so the gems disappeared, and the Gagako egg broke. Ultimately, they beat the silver boar and brought it back to the city. Fortunately, there were residents there who wanted to buy it. Because they got the money, they bought craft tools for Naofumi, and Naofumi was happy to receive the gift. The next day, Naofumi finds a village hit by a plague. The cause was the sword hero who had killed a dragon, but he did not clean the carcass. So the dragon's rotting body made a plague attack the nearest village. Naofumi and the others will clean up the dragon carcass. The dragon's carcass had become a zombie dragon when they got there. Filo immediately fought the dragon, but she was caught off guard and eaten by the dragon. Seeing this, Naofumi thought that Filo had died. So Naofumi became angry and opened the curse skill of the Rage Shield. When using the Rage Shield skill, Naofumi can burn everything around him. Even though this ability is powerful, Naofumi loses consciousness and intends to burn the mountains and forests. But Raphtalia manages to save Naofumi from the zombie dragon's hatred, even though she has to be hit by the curse from the shield. Then suddenly, the dragon fell to the ground. It turns out that Filo is still alive, and she has eaten the crystal that was inside the dragon's body. Meanwhile, Raphtalia is cursed by Curse Shield and cannot be removed except by using holy water from the church in the capital. Then Filo found the crystal still left in the previous dragon's body. Naofumi immediately put it into the shield, but his level was still low, and he couldn't unlock the dragon's skill. The next day, when they wanted to go to the capital, they met Melty, the sister of Melty, but Naofumi did not know Melty's identity. Melty explained that she had separated from the other group, so Melty wanted to go with them to the capital. After arriving at the capital, they stopped by a church to buy holy water to remove the curse on Raphtalia's body. When they entered the church, Naofumi met the church's leader, Biscus. Naofumi also had to pay a very high price to get the holy water. After that came the clown hero, who suddenly attacked Naofumi. Not only that, bitch Melty allowed them to duel in the middle of town. Fortunately, Melty managed to stop this because Melty is the heir to the next kingdom, whose position is higher than her sister's. Then Motoyasu approached Filo instead, so Filo immediately kicked him. After that, Melty explained herself as the heir to the royal throne and wanted to ask Naofumi for help. However, Naofumi refused because he hated the royal family. then the second wave will occur, and before that, the soldiers come wanting to join Naofumi's team, because their family had been saved by Naofumi before during the first wave. After that, Naofumi wants to raise his class in the church, because their level will not be able to increase if they haven't gone up a grade. However, they incur a huge fee of 15 gold coins to class up. Not only that, but the king also forbade them to raise their class there. Then they headed to the slave trader's place and got information that they could raise class in other kingdoms. But it takes a very long time to get there, so Filo bought a weapon to make her attacks stronger. After that, they found a village where the people there were very miserable. That was caused by Itsuki, who played a hero but instead made the residents miserable. Itsuki leads the revolutionary forces in another country, and succeeds in changing the leadership in that country. However, the population suffers because the state leadership raises taxes. After that, Naofumi meets Ren and Itsuki. He also lectures on their mistakes, which always makes it a hassle. Many residents died due to their actions playing as heroes of justice, so they fell silent and regretted their actions.
お前たちのせいで何人死んだと思ってる。これ以上面倒事を起こすな。
The next day the wave started. Naofumi and the others protected the village, which was being attacked by monsters. Also, an older woman who Naofumi had healed also fought there. After 3 hours, the wave happened, but the other 3 heroes couldn't beat the boss monster. That's why Naofumi immediately headed to their place. It turned out that the 3 heroes were useless and instead argued with each other. Meanwhile, Naofumi asks Raphtalia to use light magic and attack the monster's shadow. So appeared the boss monster, Soul Eater. The 3 heroes launched an attack together, but their attacks didn't work. So they are all just a burden to Naofumi. Meanwhile, Naofumi and the others managed to attack the Soul Eater, but they couldn't beat him quickly. So Naofumi decided to use Rage Shield to launch the powerful attack. After that, Naofumi uses the particular skill Iron Maiden's most powerful skill to annihilate the monster. Iron Maiden! Even though he managed to beat him, another Soul Eater appeared again. Then suddenly, a woman with a fan weapon defeated the monster with one strike. Her name is Glass. Glass said the 3 heroes were useless and weak. At the same time, Naofumi is a true hero who is stronger than them. Meanwhile, Raphtalia and Fiilo successfully launched attacks on her, but Glass could fend off them because the difference in their level is very significant. After that, Naofumi uses the Iron Maiden skill again. Glass easily destroys Iron Maiden and wants to kill them. Fortunately, the time for the waves was over and Glass disappeared with the waves. So they managed to survive this time, but if they didn't get stronger, they would die in the next wave. After that incident, the king asked Naofumi why he could be stronger than the other 3 heroes. Naofumi also says he will answer the king's question if he kneels before him. However, the king wanted to attack Raphtalia and Fiilo, so Naofumi threatened to kill him if the king dared to touch Raphtalia and Fiilo.
地の果てまで追い詰めて生まれてきたことを後悔させてやる。
After that, Naofumi meets with the queen's special forces, and she warns Naofumi to be careful with the church. Then they plan to head to Shieldfrieden to raise their class there. When Naofumi wanted to go to the Shieldfrieden, they met Melty instead. Melty wants Naofumi to be reconciled with the king, but Naofumi refuses because he doesn't trust the royal people anymore. Then Naofumi becomes suspicious of the royal soldiers. Then suddenly, a soldier wanted to kill Melty, and Naofumi quickly protected her. But this anime continues in part 2, so see you in the next video.